Welcome back, projectors. That's what I'm going to call everybody now, projectors. To episode 158 of the Guardian Project podcast. I'm your host, Andy, and I, for one, am thrilled we just got our 13th printing of Tailran Sky Summoner.
Oh, thank goodness. We needed it.
We needed more.
The price
I can't wait till we get our 14th.
Yeah, it's probably going to be in the immediate next set.
This one is 14 cents.
It's wonderful, isn't it? The most affordable legendary creature. Don't quote me on that. And I'm your other host, Mike, and I recently built an Abdel Adrian Gorian's Ward with Candlekeep Sage background deck. And if you're wondering how that deck plays, take a normal length game and then add the amount of time it takes for you to say Abdel Adrian Gorian's Ward with Candlekeep Sage background 10 times. That's how it plays.
It is. It is exactly how it plays.
Please listen carefully.
And this is the podcast where we talk about Magic the Gathering.
But mostly Commander.
Yeah, Mike, you did end up making Blue-White miserable again.
Hey, I don't think
you
it's
do a really
again.
good job doing that.
It's not again. Blue-White's always been miserable. I just played the hand I was given.
My Kangi Skywarden deck is not miserable.
It's true. My Vega the Watcher deck, not miserable.
That one, you're right. That one's really not miserable. That one is totally fine. But I've avoided playing decks like Grand Arbiter. Even sometimes Noyandar can feel oppressive, so I don't play it as much.
Sure.
That one, I think if you watched our stream, or you're going to watch it on YouTube later, at some point I go, wow, this deck takes a while, doesn't it?
Yeah, that was that when I was at 5 life at the beginning of the turn and not at 5 life at the end of the turn?
I think the pod felt bad because it was like, wow.
It's true.
But then I don't now.
No, never feel bad. Never feel bad.
Anyway, I did want to mention that there was an update that came out related to the Warhammer 40k decks. It says, due to ongoing global supply chain challenges and delays in production, the global release of the Warhammer 40,000 Commander decks is now going to be October 7th. So this release date is changing both the regular and the collector's edition of Warhammer 40,000 Commander decks. The Secret Lair, Warhammer 40,000 Orcs, and the Age of Sigmar and the Blood Bowl drops will also be impacted, so we should hear more about that in the next couple of weeks. Honestly, none of the delays surprise me, only because it's literally been happening since 2020.
Yeah,
and I'm getting a door wall. And for those of you who don't know what a door wall is, that's what we call a sliding glass door here in the Midwest.
That's right.
And when I ordered it, they told me it will be 2 to 6 months. And I understand supply chain issues. It totally happens. Like, it's the new buzzword. It's like the new keyword. And they immediately looked to see if I was like going to react. I go, no, I get it, man. The host of my podcast works in seatbelts and is fully aware of supply chain issues. Hopefully it doesn't take that long. But I just expect everything honestly for a while. Yeah. I mean, I don't see any changing in this supply chain issues at all.
Not for a little while, no. And luckily, we have only gotten a few previews for this one, so it doesn't feel that bad at getting delayed because I don't know what I'm missing yet in it. But
yeah, you don't.
But I really want it, like real bad. I really want this set. I know, Andy, you're not as hype about this set, but
I'll probably like it a lot because it's my only knowledge of Warhammer 40,000.
True.
Other than that, you've told me that it is a more expensive hobby than Magic, which I found very difficult to believe.
No, I thought it was. It's not actually more expensive.
Oh, it's not. Oh.
No. And like, if you go really hard into the paint and everything, like the painting part of that hobby, I guess it could be, but you could say the same thing about like blinging out your commander decks and stuff. So no, I think.
Well,
Magic's
I feel
more
personally attacked right now.
hey, but that's blinging out all of your commander decks. So, there's some equivalency there. But.
So you're saying some of my problems were my own doing? All right. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that,
fair.
but if we want to do therapy time for 15 minutes, we totally could. No. But speaking of bling, we did also have our full Double Masters 2022 full preview, and we're gonna have the link to all the previews. But all of the cards in here are reprints, and mainly on the show we like talking about. I mean, reprints are cool, especially when the money comes down. Mainly we like talking about new cards and stuff. So we're just gonna spend a short amount of time and talk about some of the cool reprints that we're gonna see in here. That we really like, and I think the first one that just blew me away was Imperial Seal, a 1-mana sorcery for a black. It says search your library for a card, then shuffle and put that card on top, and you lose 2 life. So a vampiric tutor at sorcery speed, which normally doesn't sound that great, but it's only been printed twice in Portal 3 Kingdoms, along with a Judge promo version, where the cheapest version was like going for like $500 or $600. So really cool to see it reprinted.
This one is one of 3 cards that I don't own for my actual CEDH deck, which would allow me to say that I fully own that deck in paper. So from what I've been hearing in through the internet and on other podcasts, because we're not a finance podcast, is that people are expecting it to come down to maybe around 85, but they're expecting it to probably sit like a Jeweled Lotus. So it'll be like a 120 to 150-ish card.
That makes sense.
That's still a lot of money, but
Yes,
I guess maybe if you can snag it for 85 with the caveat that I'm not your financier, that seems like a deal when it used to be 500.
Yeah, it does.
Because that is too much money. The other one, being Warrior's Oath, also printed only in Portal 3 Kingdoms, is an extra turn spell. So red for a sorcery, take an extra turn after this one at the beginning of that turn's end step. You lose the game. This card was $440.
Cool.
So this one I'm hearing from other finance podcasts is that it might, you could probably reasonably expect this one to be around 50 to 60, because again, it's a take an extra turn, but then you lose the game if you don't win on it. I don't know. It's giving you another one, so I wouldn't be surprised if this one was actually a little bit more expensive, but that one's kind of cool, especially that because I actually run these kinds of cards.
Sure.
I just like doing it, and then everybody tries to stop you on the extra turn, and then you're out, and then the game ends sooner.
That's at least for you it does.
At least for me it would.
We'll also see some really good popular treasure synergy cards, because people only play these cards in treasure synergy decks, and that's Smothering Tithe and Dockside Extortionist.
Yeah, definitely not played anywhere but their treasure decks.
That's right. That's right. But really cool to see Smothering Tithe get reprinted, a card that we had just mentioned a few weeks ago in cards that have been creeping up in price consistently. Dockside Extortionist started high, and it's always stayed high and gone up and up and up. I think it was going for like $80 or something before this reprint was mentioned. So very cool to see both of those cards see reprints and some pretty cool artwork too.
Can we talk about one that I have a bone to pick with somebody on, though?
Yeah, you can. Yes.
Yeah, Concordant Crossroads.
Oh yeah,
feels really bad right now.
People mad.
Yeah, I mean, and I think they have the right to feel bad about this one. I don't know if maybe some people are mad. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. The worst kind of upset. Because it wasn't printed for so long. And then the previous version from Chronicles, which was really the only version that anybody could really afford, because the one from Legends is nearing $300, was like $80. And, or in some cases it was like 40 or 50 if you could find it. And then the Secret Layer drop was going to be really cool, which hasn't come out yet. And some people haven't even been charged for yet. And now there's two brand new versions, and one of them is an etched foil.
Yep.
So there's going to be 3 new versions of Concordant Crossroads that come out before the Secret Layer that you purchased, in which the Secret Layer drop includes a ghost town, an island, and the Mardu tapped land.
Oh.
So like the rest of the Secret Layer drop means nothing.
Yeah, that's right.
I guess it doesn't mean nothing, but
sure.
They're the only value, and the reason I would say most people ordered it was for the Concordant Crossroads.
Most likely.
Of which I actually really like the new artworks that we're getting more.
It's pretty cool artwork. And
The other one's pretty cool. I mean, I guess with like ghost horses and stuff, like that's pretty cool.
just to salt the wound, I mean, you're going to be able to get the Double Masters copy before your secret lair ever comes.
Oh,
in the
months
mail.
before.
Yeah.
Because you can get this in like 2 weeks. The set comes out in 2 weeks. The pre-release
can you still,
for Double Masters is this weekend.
Yeah, can you still cancel your secret lair order for that?
I actually don't know. I didn't look. I'm not going to.
Sure.
Because I mean, I'm not going to just.
You want to support? I mean, it's still really cool artwork and everything.
It is.
All
No.
those cards.
It is. But I didn't order the full bundled secret layer. But I feel like if you ordered like the bundle, you're out of luck. But if you ordered a bunch separate, you might not be. But I wonder if it had to be that you ordered this by itself. Separate from everything else, because I think it's like a cancel your order or not. I'm actually not 100% sure.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure. But that I think is the only feel bad of in my opinion from what I would have ordered or am expecting. But Tailran's funny that we're getting our
It's so
13th
funny.
copy. I should make 13 different Tailran decks.
Yes.
Each one uses just 40 different blue
Instants and sorceries.
instants and sorceries.
Yeah, this one's my voting Talran deck because it has 5 cards in it that allow you to vote for things. Which one of them is going to be your Drake tribal deck or something like that? I'm not really sure how many Drake instant and sorceries you'll have in there to support that one, but good luck with that.
Good luck. We also got Phyrexian Altar and then Thrumming Stone. So Phyrexian Altar is great that this is being reprinted. I think this is one that we talked about wanting when we were saying what cards do we want. So this one's great because it looks like the Double Masters right now is listed for like 47. It's not really affordable, but compared to the 100 that it was before, and the Ultimate Masters looks like it's 50 as well. The borderless one though, which I think is just such a funny word, borderless versus like extended border.
Okay.
I just like saying alt art.
Sure. This is
alt art one.
This is the showcase artwork.
Or
perhaps.
showcase. Yeah, this one's pretty cool. That one's going for 100 too though. But Thrumming Stone's neat because that was only printed in Cold Snap and then previously in the list. So the list meant that there weren't very many of them. But this says spells you cast have Ripple 4. So if you're not familiar, this is a really cool legendary artifact for 5 mana. It's just 5 colorless. And it says, whenever you cast a spell, you may reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may cast spells with the same name as that spell from among the revealed cards without paying their mana cost, put the rest on the bottom of your library. So this works really well with cards like Relentless Rats and Persistent Petitioners, and just all the cards that are legal in Commander that say you can play as many of these in your deck as you would like. I guess Dragon's Approach. So it's really cool. The deck is, I mean, ultimately the deck feels very much like a meme. You know,
Sure.
You get it going and hopefully you can keep going until you play all of them out because you do put the rest on the bottom of your library. But the card was so expensive and it's still going to be, right now it's pre-ordering at $30. And I will say, do not pre-order reprinted cards. Don't pre-order them.
Yet.
Just let them come out. And then the price is going to go down.
Well, especially if you plan on drafting the set or something, because you might just get the cards too. But interesting. I wanted to note here, Andy, the one card that you can play any number of copies of in the deck that you didn't mention was Shadowborn Apostle, which is the only one of those cards mentioned that's actually printed in this set at Double Masters at Common. So you'll be able to get your Shadowborn Apostles as many copies as you want, hopefully for less than $2 a copy or $5 a copy or whatever it was going for at the time, and your Thrumming Stone, and be able to do your silly shenanigans there. But speaking of this Phyrexian Altar, you know, we said some feel bads, the only feel bad having Concordant Crossroads. I do have a small feel bad, and this might be a little entitled of me to have this feel bad. But my Shizo's Caretaker deck was like going to be one of the first decks that I foiled out, and one of the most expensive foils for it was going to be the Phyrexian Altar foil, which I got from Ultimate Masters. But this new alternate artwork for Phyrexian Altar is so freaking cool that now I need to get this in foil, which costs way more money than I want to spend on that card.
Now you know the struggle.
It's bad. I don't like it.
I know when you got to select the best foil alternate. I will say though, I bet you the card stock on this will be so much better than with Ultimate Masters.
Oh, Ultimate Masters was pretty good, actually.
Was it Eternal? One of them that had like the circle and it felt very much like the X-Men symbol as the symbol. The cards felt like they were printed on like white printer paper.
Oh, okay. Maybe it was M25 or something. I don't remember.
Familiar. I'm not sure. I don't usually buy the premium product. I usually just buy singles.
I try not to spend all my money on supplemental sets, but they're so nice, Andy.
They're so pretty. And there's a lot of really cool borderless cards here, especially this Allosaurus Shepherd, which is a guy petting like a velociraptor.
It's very cute.
It's adorable. I like all these cards. I think my favorite of all of them, though, are these arts by Richard Kane Ferguson. We're getting Coiling Oracle, Dragonlord Jamoka, Elenda the Dusk Rose, Grimflayer, and Marchesa the Black Rose. In I don't know what to call this art style, but whatever it is the art style that I like. And I want more of. So give me more of this.
Okay. I really am digging the artwork on Cedrus, the Traitor King alternate. It's very like everything is made of bones.
Like etched into a wall or something. Yeah, it looks they excavated this.
Yeah, it looks very similar to the Damnation artwork, where it's like a bunch of angels made of bones and everything. You know me, I like my mono black stuff. There's a lot of really cool artwork here for mono black, including Surgical Extraction reprint, which was also really cool. Something I'm looking forward to for playing in Modern, perhaps. So everyone, no matter if you're a Commander player, Standard player, whatever, you're gonna get something here from Double Masters in some very pretty artwork.
Yeah, you will. We could honestly go on. We could do a whole show about our favorite reprints, but the problem is we would just like mention the whole set, so we really can't.
It's every card. Through. Yeah, it's every.
It's
card.
all the card. It's almost all the cards. Except you, Tailrand. But before we continue, if you would like to support us, you can head to patreon.com/guardianprojectpod and donate for any dollar amount. We really, really want to thank everybody who listens to us week after week, especially our patrons. We love you all.
Yeah, and if you're looking for another way to support the podcast or an additional way to support the podcast, wherever you are enjoying our podcast on now, if you could subscribe, rate, review, and leave comments, we would be most appreciative.
Hey, you can find us on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter by searching Guardian Project Podcast. You can also email us at guardianprojectpod@gmail.com. Mike, what are we actually talking about this week that is not just Double Masters reprints?
It's not just Double Masters, but going to be there is actually going to be Double Masters Draft, because we're going to Command Fest Indy in a couple weeks, and we wanted to do an episode where we talked about how to prepare for going to events like these and some lessons learned we had for the last Command Fest we went to, which was like 3 years ago now. So hopefully we remember the good things, the bad things, and let's review for Indy.
We're packed up, snacked up, and jacked up. It's time for Command Fest. God dang it, I messed that up. Yeah, Command Fest Indy is right around the corner, and we wanted to talk about how we prepped for events. It's been a really long time since we have talked about prepping for an event. But we did want to mention before we went through this, we're actually very excited to see that we will have some pretty good health and safety measures in place. For this, it's being run by Pastime Games, so you will have to have a vaccination or proof of a negative test for entry, and then masks are required for the full event. So you can, I guess, sleep soundly knowing that there is some sort of preventative measures and protection in place to help keep everybody safe and healthy while they're attending the event.
Yeah, very nice. Glad that they have this. And, we've been living this life for many, many years now. So it's really not that big of a deal to have to go through it again. So it's good to be safe. And I know what everyone's faces look like with a mask on, and I don't know what their faces look like without a mask on. So it's better this way for me to recognize people. So
You know what their faces look like with masks on compared to without?
Yeah, you got like, okay, so I've been mentoring my like robotics team all throughout COVID and stuff too. And as soon as I saw them without masks on, I'm like, oh my gosh, everyone has chins and everything. It's crazy because you've never seen these people without their masks on before. So yes.
Yeah. So lots of stuff happening in just a couple of weeks here. So Command Fest Indy is happening July 8th through 10th. So we wanted to talk about our preparation leading up to this. So one of the first things that, we generally think about is how many decks are we going to bring to the event? And honestly, this one is, since we're close, we get to drive. So we're driving to Indy. And if you're driving, I feel like I bring more than if I'm flying.
For sure.
So there's that. Right now, I think I have 30 decks, just total,
okay, sure,
actually sleeved up. I don't play 30 decks often. A lot of them were sleeved up and haven't been played in quite some time.
Okay.
Actually, I think I have 2 that haven't been played this year yet. And I don't think that's going to change for the event. So I feel like what I'm probably going to do is I have an Ultra Pro case that allows me to have 9 decks in it, like a full zipper bag. And then I have a backpack where I have 2 slots for like individual deck boxes. And then I have another deck box that holds 2. So what I'll probably do is bring my backpack with the 4 decks I can fit in there, and then just like the Ultra Pro bag that has 9 decks in it. So I think that gives me 13 decks. And I think that's all I'm going to bring, but I'm not bringing all of them to the event hall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. So I'm probably only going to have like 4 with me. But the hotels that most people are staying at, when I say they're literally across the street, I mean, some of them are connected to the building.
Yeah.
So you can just run back to your room. It'll take 10 minutes to run there and run back. So I think that's probably what I'm going to do. And I don't know fully which ones I'm bringing yet, but I do know that the last time we went to an event and we hung out with people out of town, I did not have my CEDH deck with me. And of course, there were people who wanted to play CEDH, and I was like, crap, I'm not prepared for this. So I'm going to at least bring it so that I have it. If somebody wants to do it, great. If I don't end up using it, then I don't end up using it. But I'd rather be prepared and have it than not have it and feel bummed that I missed out on a cool game.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was actually going to ask you, because I was considering bringing, one, I have to rebuild it slightly, but then bringing my Kess CEDH deck, because I wasn't sure, like, and we're going to talk about some of the events that Pastimes is going to be hosting, both scheduled and on-demand, and CEDH is going to be one of those. And I just wasn't sure if I would want to sit down and play CEDH with strangers, only because I haven't really, been part of the meta for a long time. I don't want people to think I'm slow playing or anything like that. But yeah, I guess if we're going to have friends there that are also going to be into CEDH, that would be a good idea to be prepared for it. Maybe I'll come up with some really janky tier 2 brew or something and try to just
CEDH is CEDH. I don't see tiers, but I'd say at least, yeah, sure. I would just say I would have one. That's just me. If you're going to the event, it's nice to have it. And then if you find us there, we'll have one if you bring yours.
That's true.
So just ask us, and then I'll have a reason to play it. And I might have to say I'll be back in 10 minutes if I left it at the hotel room.
How many decks would you consider bringing if you were flying, though? Because we talked about
4.
How we're going to drive. So you would do maximum 4.
I would do how many I can just fit in my backpack. That's probably all I'd be doing. And I'd probably bring something new that was like brand new that I built, like maybe from one of the last 1 or 2 sets.
Okay.
I would probably bring like Niambi or Noyandar, one or the other, just because I think that's what people know me for.
Sure.
I might bring like an Omnath, just because it's an easy to understand. It's older, so people know what it does. And then I think still probably a competitive deck or maybe my sleeveless deck, just because it's easy and I wanted to do that for the funds.
Yes.
So probably only 4, especially because when you're flying, you need to tell TSA that you have cards with you. We flew couple of years ago now, we went to Colorado, and we weren't going for Magic. We were going on vacation, and I think we brought a Magic deck because we knew that there was going to be an LGS not too terribly far, but then it was really far.
It was far
from where we were staying. It was really far actually from where we were staying. So we brought a deck, but they did open up and I hadn't said anything, not because it was my first time flying with a commander deck, and it was in one of just my like satin towers, like the Ultra Pro satin tower boxes.
Yep.
And they did hey, I need you to come over here. What's in this box? And I was like, it's a collectible card game. I can open it. It's Magic the Gathering cards. When they opened it, they were like, oh, okay, because they don't scan well.
Right.
I don't know what they scan like. I've not actually seen it scan. Sometimes you can see the screens and see what they're looking at, but I guess they don't scan well. I've only seen a few horror stories online about it where they're like, oh, they opened up my deck that's, $4,000 and had started touching it. And it's like, well, I guess. So what I've been told is you open it up, tell them, hey, these are collectible cards, like in those little gray bins, and put it in there so that they can physically see it.
Right.
I guess if you're comfortable, but if I'm flying, I'm not bringing that many.
Okay. That's
I hate going through TSA even when I bring my laptop. When I travel for work, I have my work laptop, and then I bring my own laptop because I'm usually traveling for a couple of days. So it's the way that I can just watch Netflix or something when back at the hotel if it doesn't have like it on the TV.
Yeah.
And having to get a bucket for my shoes and my watch and wallet and whatever, and then a bucket for my computer, and then a bucket for my work laptop. It's a lot, and it just feels very overwhelming. So I try to fly and pack lightly if I can.
Could you imagine like shipping all of your belongings to your location ahead of time so that you could just fly with like your phone and some headphones, and that's it?
You know how much more money it would cost us to travel?
A lot more.
I'm going to ship this 50-pound suitcase. How much is that? I don't even want to know.
Well, I guess
I know how much it costs to ship a card overseas.
I guess they're gonna ship it on an airplane anyways, because that's what the travel, or that's what like FedEx and UPS does anyways. They ship it air freight. It's probably going in the exact same airplane that you're taking anyways, so it should cost the same, but it's not, because it's a bunch of paperwork and bureaucracy, and it's all baloney.
Baloney.
But anyways, we're only driving, so I too am going to bring a lot more than 4 commander decks to Command Fest Indy. I actually have a backpack that I like to put all my commander stuff in, and Andy can attest that sometimes that backpack, you don't know how things actually fit in there, Jenga style, Tetris style. It looks
Mike
like
comes
Jenga.
over to play Commander for 3 hours, and he brought 12 decks.
I bring everyone.
Why did you bring this? We're only going to play 2 games.
Well, what decks do you guys want to play? Because I got to play two to that level. You never know. Someone's going to have a particular deck that they want to play, and I
totally fair.
And I got to make sure that I either play my 7.1 or my 7.9 deck, and any deck that has power level in between, which is all of them. But
all of them.
I think I like the way you were thinking, Andy, in terms of bringing some of my newer decks. I have 2 brand new background commander decks that I'm going to bring. Yes, I will be bringing Abdel Adrian. So if you want to play a long game, come find me. We
only have 3 days. It'll take one of them to play 1 game of that. So
we'll just throw all of our ticks in for that day in that game and see what happens. It'll be a good time.
Okay.
Bring your Brago decks. Bring all of your Blinky decks. It'll be a good time. But I have 2 more background decks that aren't built up that, if they get built, I'll bring them. And if they don't get built, I won't. And I'll have room to build a few more. But I have these in my backpack. What fits really nice is an Ultimate Guard Archive. That's my choice deck box to use. It can hold 4 100 double-sleeved commander decks in them. I'm planning on bringing 2 of them, so I'm going to have 8 double-sleeved commander decks. I do double-sleeve all my commander decks, no matter how expensive or inexpensive they are, just to keep it consistent. Allows me to switch cards back and forth if ever need to. They're all also always in the same sleeves. So those 2 to 4 background decks, my newest Streets of New Capenna deck, Rafine and Henzi, have been like my babies lately. We talked about our unsleeved decks. Andy, I assume you're going to be bringing yours no matter what. It's kind of a novelty
I think so,
to try to get people to sign them and stuff. The CEDH decks we talked about. And then I don't know what the other decks are. I'm going to bring my iconic deck, if you will. The deck that I'm kind of known for, Shirei, has not been together for like a year and a half, if you didn't know that. But pulling back the curtain, Shirei hasn't been together for a very long time. So maybe just Morophon or something will be the deck that I bring.
Coil's going to bring 2 decks, Abdel Adrian take forever,
Yep.
and Shirei also take forever.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's only Shirei.
Coyle's playing 2 games this weekend.
I'm going to bring 3 Shirei decks. The one that makes you discard all the cards in your hand, the one that's fun, and then also Shadowborn Apostle, which is also a fun deck, but it's a lot more meaty.
So also planning, the one thing that we will also bring, because it is the first event that we'll be at that isn't just like hanging out at our houses, that we can actually do like Baldur's Gate drafts. So they're going to have that throughout the weekend. So bringing sleeves if you do like a draft pack. I have all of my basic lands already sleeved, only because I'm a slow deck builder. So after we're done drafting, I save myself a couple minutes by not having to go get the basic lands. So that, and then also the last time we had an event through Pastimes events, the prizes were really, really good. So we did leave with quite a bit of stuff. We got some of those Ultra Pro deck boxes with like the guild sigils on them from when Guilds of Ravnica and Ravnica Allegiance were out. I actually got a full box of Ravnica Allegiance. I don't know how I got so many tickets, but their prize wall was really good. They're going to have actually quite a bit of stuff on their prize wall. So if you're looking for things specifically, like commander precons and actual just like individual packs, you should be able to get quite a bit of stuff. They've got uncut sheets, playmats, t-shirts, set bundles, and probably stuff that they don't have listed currently on their website, but you just turn in a bunch of prize tickets and get a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, and you're guaranteed to get prize tickets at most of the events that are sign up for schedule and on demand. And we'll talk about the prize payouts there. The only ones where you're not guaranteed are the one-on-one drafts that they will be having there, the Swiss rounds of that. And we'll talk about that later too. But if you're into that, you're going to want to bring even more sleeves to draft that and space to put all of your drafted cards. But another thing that you might want to consider is how much time you're actually going to be spending playing Commander. Because if you're going to be playing one game with me and I'm playing Abdel Adrian, you really only need to bring 2 decks down to the hall with you, because you're only going to have time for one other game. Plus, you're probably going to go and see the different vendors that are going to be there. There's a bunch of artists that are going to be there, maybe just talking to people. And also, when you're waiting in line for your scheduled events and stuff, there's going to be those awkward times where there's going to be 35 minutes until your scheduled event, where there's really not enough time to get a full game of Commander in. So you're just going to be sitting around maybe a little bit or looking at vendors. So consider that when you're thinking about how many decks you're bringing down to the hall or how many decks you're bringing with you as well.
Yeah, I honestly, this is our first big event, other than I got to see some people when I was in Vegas last year, that we'll be at together since almost our show started, right? Because we started in 2019 and we got to go to Command Fest Chicago, and then we had nothing. So this will be the first like big event since almost like the origination of our show. Yeah, we'll be able to meet people. So I kind of want to spend a lot of time probably just meeting and chatting with people.
Oh, for sure. I think it was there was a Magic Fest Detroit was canceled. It was live canceled on our show.
It was.
Yeah.
It was a couple of years ago now.
It was.
So we didn't get to go to that, but let's talk about the artists that are going. I'm pretty excited. Lots of big artists. So it may actually change some of the things that I bring or some individual cards that I'm bringing. But the artists that are going to be at Indy are Mark Poole, Dan Scott, Aaron Miller, Jeff Miracola, Randy Gallegos, Chuck, Lucas, and then Rob Alexander, as listed at the time that we're recording this. So if you're into getting artist signatures, or if you are into artist proofs, which I find are really cool, and I didn't think I would like them, and then I was gifted one, and now I think I'm into artist proofs, and like that's a thing that I do now. Those are really cool because you can buy them and you can have people sketch on them, so you can have the artist actually like draw a picture if you want. Some artists do really cool like signatures. I saw somebody who was like laminating things onto them, and I think they were called I really wish I remembered the artist now, but they did the Judge promo of Avacyn. So if we look up the Judge promo of the actual Avacyn, they did that artwork, and they were doing this thing called like a unicorn blood signature, where it felt like it was a foil type paper that they would run it through almost like a laminator, and then they would peel it off, and it would only stick to where they had drawn their signature. And then it was like this really cool holographic signature. I thought their signature was really, really cool. So you can do things like that because they have lots of, I guess, really cool, unique styles of getting signatures. But we're going to talk about some of the really cool cards that you may want to bring if you're going. I want to start with Aaron Miller. I met Aaron Miller a couple years ago. Actually, we went to Gen Con. Super duper nice person.
Mm-hmm.
I got to chat with him, but he did a Johnny Mentor of Heroes. Very, very good card. Burning Tree Vandal, which I know is only a common for Ravnica Allegiance, but I have a Ravnica cube, so I try to get it, at least all those cards in foil, and then to get those cards signed. So if you're looking for cards, if you play Cassetto, Aruchi Archmage, which is a cool snake commander, you can get that signed. And I did see that Aaron Miller did Crom and Ludwig. So if you play that partner deck, you could get signatures. Next is Jeff Miracola, which I wanted to mention this one because you wanted to do a Rule Zero deck, which neither of us have, and you wanted to add Krark's Other Thumb to your dice rolling deck.
Yes.
And Jeff Miracola did the artwork for Krark's Other Thumb.
Yes, I'll definitely have the card with me, and I would be more than happy to get Jeff to sign this one. I'm not typically into signatures and stuff, but for silver border cards, for my unsleeved deck and all that kind of stuff, I'm actually really excited to seek these out. But if we're going to talk about silver border cards that Jeff printed, we got to also talk about Bevy of Beebles, aka Bob, B-O-B, the artwork designer of the Beeble, the Beeble. Sorry, I haven't played silver border in a long time. Beebles are the only thing I really know about silver border sets. So Beebles are exciting to me, and I hope they're exciting to you too.
Yeah, no, the only card that I think I run that I have in foil that I would like here is, I guess I run Frantic Search and then also Wipe Away. So really good cards. But if you're looking for more un cards to get signed, Chuck Lucas will be there, and I think if not all the contraptions, a lot of the contraptions. So if you have an uncube or something, you can get all of those signed there, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm just looking through all these artworks. It's really, really cool. Most of these artists are actually even doing art for like the latest Double Masters set and everything still now. Some of the borderless stuff. So really cool to see them have modern work too.
Yeah, and then Rob Alexander has so many artworks on cards that everyone plays. This was like crazy. I couldn't even list any specifically because there's just so many. Obero, Palace in the Clouds, Overgrown Tomb, Polluted Delta, Quest for Ula's Temple, the original Sacred Foundry, the secondary Sensei's Divining Top. There's just so many cards that Rob Alexander did that I would need to get signed.
Yeah.
Thrumming Stone, which we mentioned being reprinted in Double Masters 2022, was actually his artwork as well. So if you're looking to get artist signatures, there's a ton that you can get done.
And typically these artists are also having their artwork on tokens and play mats and all that kind of stuff too. And I know that's probably going to be my main focus when I go and look at what the artist booths and have everything, is looking for some unique token art and some unique play mats. And they do signatures for those as well.
Finding wall space at this point, though, in the game room is difficult because I've gotten so many posters with just like the actual set posters that I have run out of space in this room for more Magic art. It's going to start spilling out. Maybe I should do my actual office, like my work office in Magic stuff, because I work from home, so
sure.
And I don't have a lot on my wall, so I might just have to buy a bunch more Magic art.
Every office is a Magic office. When
if
you're working
you try
from
home.
home.
Enough.
Oh yeah, if you try. No, that's true. That's true. So there's also going to be a bunch of vendors here at this event. So there's going to be 6 vendors alongside Pastime Games. So Pastime is also going to be one of the vendors here. And typically in person, you're looking at better prices than online because you get to avoid shipping. I mean, we all know shipping costs have been through the roof lately. So excited to see some lower costed stuff? Is there, I don't know if there's anything in particular I'm looking for right now. Andy, is there anything like any high, I know you said there's a few more foils you're looking for, but those were because they just weren't printed in foil before. But are there any other cards that you're chasing or anything right now?
I mean, if I can find myself a foil Lear, Disciple of the Drowned,
there you go.
Pick that up. I need Hullbreaker Horror. I have a borderless one, or nope. I have a widescreen, which is the extended border. But I don't have it in foil, so I need that. But I don't think I have any chase items that I'm hoping for. I think last time when we went to an event, that's when I got my Captor of Jin Shao, which was my foil extra turn spell from Portal 3 Kingdoms that did not get reprinted this set. So I got a judge promo of that. And then I got, I think I was also looking at Food Chain, which I ended up picking up a copy of that, but that's been reprinted.
Yep.
I don't think I have any hard to find foils or anything right now, but I always like looking at the like judge promos and stuff that they have.
Oh yeah.
Because there's some of those that there's so many foil printings. Some of them I didn't realize were printed in foil. So I buy things just when I like the way that they look. So I also am easy to sell something to. I say that you could sell me, a paper bag. That's a saying people say, and I'm that person. If you convince me it's good enough, I'll buy your paper bag. So
as long as the paper bag is foil, then you got it. That's all
exactly. So if these vendors are there and they see me walking by and they start pitching things, there's a good chance that I'll buy. Are you looking for anything?
So the only thing I would be looking at is just, I'm very curious to see what the singles prices for the Double Masters 2022 cards are going to be release weekend or just after release weekend. So I'll be watching those prices pretty carefully to see if maybe it'll be a good opportunity to pick up. I doubt the special artwork cards are going to be at a price where I want to do anything with, because typically at the beginning of a set release, those cards are way, way, way higher in price than they're going to end up settling at. But maybe some of the standard artwork cards from Double Masters that people are going and they're going to go draft Double Masters and then go over to the table and sell the cards real quick to get a couple more dollars to sign up for another scheduled event to go draft something again, maybe. And I don't know. I'm just curious to see those prices. But no, there's nothing in particular that I'm really chasing.
Yeah, they do have Double Masters draft on demand all weekend, so I expect that will probably sell out before the event happens, because there's, as of the time of recording, it says there's only 128 seats left. So in the next 2 weeks, that's probably going to disappear pretty quickly.
So if you're going, you might want to think about signing up before you go. If you think you're going to be able to sign up when you're there, you might be wrong.
Yeah, exactly. There's also going to be a lot of special guests. The list does keep growing, but right now Sheldon Menery will be there, Rachel Weeks, Dana Roach, Covert Go Blue, Talia Vess, Anna Thornton, and then obviously we have a lot of artists as well that we mentioned. So if you are looking to meet some people in person, and I know that we got to stream with Dana last week, but we've never met Dana in person, and I've got to stream with Rachel a few times now. Both of whom I would like to play some in-person Commander with.
Yes.
Take photos, prove it. Picture didn't happen, so I guess I gotta take pictures.
Celebrity photos, candid.
Exactly. So excited to meet a couple of people, and then I think we're gonna bring the show to a close, going over the events, because there's a couple of wacky formats that we can play again, and we've talked about some before, but there's one that's happening that I am unfamiliar with that you're going to have to walk us through.
Yeah. I was unfamiliar before. I read about this one, but I think the way I'll explain it, it'll be okay. But there's going to be a bunch of scheduled events and on-demand events at Command Fest Indy, so make sure you check out the list on pasttimeevents.com, specifically for the Indianapolis event. But do keep in mind that for these scheduled events, you're going to need a Wizards account. If you play Magic Arena, you have a Wizards account. It's the same thing. If you don't play Magic Arena and you don't have a Wizards account, go on over to Wizards website and get an account. You will actually need it to play in some of these scheduled and on-demand events because they do track it based on your person. There's also a MTG Companion app that you should also have downloaded on your phone. This is for matchmaking in particular. I think they're asking for this for the Swiss rounds of there's going to be a Mystery Booster 2019 Convention Edition draft and a Double Masters 2022 draft. So for those, it'll be Swiss rounds, 3 rounds with particular matchmaking that you will want the MTG Companion app installed on your phone, available for Android and Apple devices. So no excuses. You can get it as long as you have a smartphone, and I hope you do. So for most of these events, besides those ones of Swiss rounds, there's going to be 2 different types of queuing for the events. There is a casual and a challenging queue. The only difference between these two is whether or not you're putting any ticks on the line, and ticks are your points that you trade in at the table to get stuff at the end. At the prize table, any ticks on the line for actually winning the game. So a casual game, everyone is going to walk away with the same number of ticks. In a competitive or in a challenging game, everyone is going to put up 20 of their 140 ticks is the typical cost, or the typical payout, I'm sorry. So everyone will walk away with 120 ticks, and then 20 ticks per person will be up for grabs for winning that event. Now that covers everything in general. So now this first event here, this first scheduled event that we're going to talk about is called Boss Monster,
which is a board game I almost always lose.
I didn't know it was
I
a
saw
board game.
this. Yeah, Boss Monster. It's a pretty fun game.
Okay.
But I always just lose. But this, I saw this and I go, wow, another Boss Monster for me to lose.
So this is very similar. Well, I guess it's half similar to the game type Pinata, which was also a game type that was brand new to us at Command Fest 2019. And we went to Chicago. So Pinata is its own player. So there is a 5th player in your pot of 4 that has 30 life. In this case, this is a Boss Monster and not a Pinata. This particular time, so the Pinata in the game type Pinata doesn't have a turn. Boss Monster does have a turn. The Boss Monster will always go last, will always go 5th. And during the Boss Monster's turn, one player will roll a d6 and use the result to determine the spell the Boss Monster casts on its turn. And you roll a number of times equal to half of the turns taken by the Boss Monster, rounded down. So on turn 2, you're going to roll 1 dice. On turn 3, you're going to roll 1 dice. On turn 4, you're going to roll 2 dice. And there's going to be a table of different things that can happen. Players can only attack the Boss Monster and block for the Boss Monster. So you can't attack other players. You can still do direct damage to other players. You can still knock other players out. But there's 2 different ways to win. You can either win as a team and cooperatively reduce the Boss Monster's life points to 0, as would be in a casual setting for this, but in a challenging setting, the ultimate winner is the person who reduces the Boss Monster's life total to 0, the one person that does it. So if you are playing that challenging event, you want to be the person that kills the Boss Monster. You want to be the ultimate champion, but the Boss Monster does have to die. There is a chance that everyone in the game can lose if the Boss Monster wins. So on the dice rolling, it's going to be weird because I'm actually going to start at 6, which is the best thing, but you'll see why once we get to the number 1 for what happens when you roll the dice for the Boss Monster's turn. On a 6, each player immediately receives 40 prize ticks. This is the only game type where you can get
400.
extra tick. 400, sorry, yeah, 400 prize ticks. This is the only game type that I've seen on the list where you can actually win extra prize tickets within the game itself. And I think this is the most appealing part of this game. I mean, this looks really fun, but this is like over the top. I want to play Boss Monster for sure now and try to get
everybody
free
play
tickets.
dice rolling decks, and if you would roll a die, you roll twice. Oh, you're rolling for the Boss Monster though.
Well, just let me roll. I'm going to play the will deck, and then I'll get to roll extra dice, and we'll call a judge over, and we'll see if they'll give us 400 prize ticks on the first
Probably
time.
not. They're probably going to say that Boss Monster doesn't have that thumb.
We will ask not for permission, but
Forgiveness.
for forgiveness on the first time, and then for every time after, we'll know the rules. But starting with some of the negative effects. On a 5, it says until the beginning of the Boss Monster's next turn, players cannot draw more than 1 card per turn. On a 4, the Boss Monster gains 5 life. On a 3, the boss monster deals 5 damage to every player and planeswalker.
Oof.
Pretty good board wipe.
That's a good board wipe.
On a 2, all permanents lose indestructible. Destroy all creatures and legendary permanents. They can't be regenerated.
I don't like that at all.
I love the way this is worded. Except the fact that it says destroy. I kind of do wish it says exile, because it doesn't hit the Theros gods if you have them as your commanders, but it does hit non.
Well, if they're creatures at the time.
Oh, I guess it does. No, they lose indestructible. Yeah, so it would still
right. But
kill
if it's
them.
not a creature at the time, then it wouldn't.
Oh, but it says destroy all creatures and legendary permanents. So it would be a non-indestructible legendary god enchantment. Or not god, just enchantment at the time.
Yeah. Reading the rule explains the rule.
Gosh, it's such a complicated new rule, and
Gosh.
I retyped it. Who knows if I retyped it right? I hope I did. No. So on a 1, this is the ultimate bad roll of a 1. You resolve each effect in order as though you rolled a 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then discard 3 cards and mill 3 cards. So, you're going to be destroying all permanents. We're going to remove indestructible from everything, destroy all creatures and legendary permanents. 5 damage to every player and planeswalker. Boss monster gains 5 life. And then you can't draw more than 1 card until your next turn. And there's a chance that, you're on turn 6 and you roll a 1 3 times. Like, there's a chance that happens. And that
I actually feel like this makes this boss monster feel harder. Yeah. You have a 1 in 6 chance. So I feel like I think this is probably gonna be a lot of fun.
I think it's gonna be fun too.
What kind of commander deck would you play against this? Because when we played the version before, which like you said was similar, Pinata, you can't attack players. So there was a rules clarification too, and you couldn't attack their planeswalkers. So I played a Super Friends deck. That was a big mistake. It's not what you should have done. But I felt like that seemed like an interesting strategy. What kind of deck would you play in a boss monster game?
I mean, I guess it depends if we're doing a casual or a challenging setting, because
okay, what's the difference? Do both.
In a casual setting, I'd probably just be playing Morophon, something that has like little interaction and just tries to put as intimidating of a board state together as fast as possible, because we're just working together as a team to try to reduce life total as quickly. But I feel like in a challenging game where people are trying to get the last hit on the boss, that it's going to be really easy to interact with my stuff. So maybe I want to do something that's just going to do one big swing, get in and win, something where no one's going to have enough stuff to block or anything. So I might say my blue-white Abdel Adrian deck, actually, for something like that.
Or cards that phase things out. Oh, your stuff will just come back.
You know what? We do have to ask a judge when we get there, on the boss's turn, does it actually count as like a full turn for decks that like do interact with things on each turn, like a She-Ray deck or something like that? Because that could, interact, a whole extra turn of interaction could be very meaningful for a deck like She-Ray or something.
Maybe. Interesting. Well, that seems like a lot of fun.
Yes.
So, if you want to play this with us, let us know and we'll sign up early, because there's quite a few spots left for that. There's not as many as I thought would be left at this point. So there's a lot of spots for that one still. These are all over the place. How many seats are left for all these games?
Yeah, there's going to be some people.
Weekend.
I assume there's going to be some people that can only come in the afternoon because maybe they work in the morning and they're local or something like that. So there'll be some sort of trend that we see of more open seats, I think, in the morning than in the evening as we go on. But some of these other events that we have, there are both on-demand and scheduled events for Battle for Baldur's Gate Draft.
I would do that again. That was fun, but it does take that is something that you would probably spend your evening doing, because I would assume it's probably 4-ish hours, because drafting and then building and then you play 2 games.
Yeah. And I'm not sure how they are going to do the matchmaking for those 2 games, if you're going to play in the same 4-person pod twice, or if they're going to mix and match from the 8 people that were in the same draft or something. But it'll be interested to see how they do that. I don't know if I'm going to do a full-on draft, because there is also going to be a Battle for Baldur's Gate sealed that is lower on our list here, that I think I would prefer to do, only because I think we're going to draft this set quite a lot at home. And I'm not going to get an opportunity to play sealed much, I don't think.
That's funny that you chose sealed. You know what? I'm not a fan of sealed. It feels I like
It's
to be
so
able to
random.
at least it is so random. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
like draft, but we've also got two-headed giant. There's mystery booster convention edition sealed. There's CEDH commander. We talked about it at our last event, but Emperor, which is like 3v3, and you can only attack the person across from you, except if you're the Emperor, which could attack the two defend. It's a very cool format as well.
Takes
and
a
all of
while
them,
though. It's
it does take a
six-person
while.
game, so
It's a 6-person game, so that's cool. But I probably want to do double Masters 2022 and try to do one of these events. They do have quite a few, and I'd probably want to do draft of this. Only because I don't know how often I'm going to be able to do it, and I don't know how available this product is going to be. So
Right.
I'm probably going to sign up for one of those. And then we've got Plane Chase, which is just playing with the Plane Chase cards. And then another one that we saw last time but didn't get to play was Lightning Round. So it's a hyper fast commander variant. So at the beginning of each of your turns, you draw back up to 7 cards, and you can play 2 lands on your turn. So you're playing it in hyper quick mode, which is also just wild.
This is actually one of the only events where there's actually only one round of play, and I think it's the cheapest event. I think it's $20 to play here, so it really is like if you were like, I just want to play one really fast game, literally just sign up for Lightning Round. It's going to be the
just play
fastest
Landfall. You'll always have your 2 lands to play.
We did talk about Ashling the Pilgrim 99 Mountains being a very viable deck in this particular game type. You have to play 7 mountains per turn. That's insane.
But you can only play up to 2 lands.
Oh, up to 2. I thought it was.
You draw up to 7, but you can only play 2 lands.
I'm thinking that last time they may have had the rules were very unclear in 2019 for some of the events, and I'm glad they have them spelled out. And I think they said that you could play any number of lands last time we were there in the Lightning Round. So that's probably what I'm
you
thinking
played
of.
7 lands. Well, we are excited to see everybody. That is kind of how we've been prepping for this event. It's just checking out what's going on, planning our decks around all of these events and who we're going to see. So we're excited. And that's about it for this week. So we want to thank you all for listening. And if you want to chat with us, I'm online on Twitter at Andy Flory.
And I'm online on Twitter at Wormcoil Engine. If there's any decks that we didn't talk about that you're going to be at Command Fest Indy and those are decks that you want to see, make sure to add us on Twitter and tell us to bring those decks, because I think both of us are still kind of going back and forth on exactly what decks we want to bring. So please add us there. We also want to give a special thanks to Ryan Nichols and Chris Wolf. They handle all of our production and all of our imagery, all of our graphics that you see on YouTube. Chris does a really good job for us. So thank you so much to the both of you. To all the listeners out there, thank you so much for listening. Please come back next week where we'll have another great topic that we don't know what is yet because we were talking about it before this, but we have a lot of really good ideas. So you should definitely come back next week, and we'll talk to you all at Command Fest Indy if we see you there next week as well.
Okay, bye.
Bye.